In 1839, a new technology revolutionised the image, photography. Almost immediately it sparked a heated debate that's still going on today.
So, can a photograph be a work of art? It's an old chestnut, and personally I think the answer is straightforward. Of course it can. Every time the photographer depresses the shutter, all kinds of artistic decisions are being made about focus, about light, about composition. And yet, in many people's minds, questions still hover. Isn't photography too easy, too mechanical, too much of a shortcut? Can a photograph ever be really as truly and deeply expressive as a great painting?
To explore, I've come to the National Gallery's first major photography exhibition, which has old masters of painting rubbing shoulders with groundbreaking photographers, past and present. Pioneers like Julia Margaret Cameron were convinced that photography could be art and used smudged, painterly effects to prove it. But 150 years later, photography was still painting's poor relation. In the 70s, Craigie Horsfield was one of the first contemporary artists to make a breakthrough.
I just remember 20 years ago, you were well known for bridling if anybody called you a photographer. You said, no, I'm an artist, and I happen to use a camera some of the time.
If you were showing Gilpin George, it's photography, or is it? Warhol, is that photography? I mean, it's such a nebulous description, and it doesn't actually apply to most of what we see and experience.
Horsfield's work challenges some perceived limitations of the photograph, that they are small, slight, quick to reproduce, lacking the weight of painting. He produces only one image, emphasising the uniqueness of the object itself.
I noticed that you're one of the few in the exhibition who doesn't have a sheet of glass interposed between image and audience. And to me, that has the effect of drawing me in to the photographic paper, almost beginning to see the photographic paper itself as another form of skin on which these pigments, these shapes, these forms have been imprinted. Is that part of your intention?
Yes, it's an aquarelle paper where you have this tactile surface. If you look very closely, you can see the stippling almost as if it was the pores of the skin. But of course, it's an illusion.
There's a strong sense of enigma about it. I mean, I have this sense that he's really thinking about something that's been said to him. There's almost like a sense of clenching in his cheek muscles.
But this is surely one of the fascinating aspects of making art, and especially making pictures, that this is a story. We know that it's not real. It's not this person in this place. It's an account of somebody who we've never met, who we will only know this about.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like the Mona Lisa quality.
Well,
except he's not
it's
smiling.
something that art can do, isn't it?
Horsfield's work has been described as painterly in both its process and its nature. He paved the way for some of the artists here, many of whom explore the relationship between photography and art history. Richard Learoyd uses a 19th century process, a camera obscura, a gigantic photographic device the size of a room. The image is projected directly onto the paper itself, making each image unique. Sittings can last for days.
All of this effort, all of this labour into the camera obscura effect, what is it, the effect that you're trying to get? What's the sensation?
The sensation is the power of the photograph. I think that making photographs in that way creates image of a scale without a printmaking process intervening. This process is incredibly good at giving people a centre of gravity, giving a sense of weight and three-dimensionality that defies the photographic surface.
Learoyd's work is often directly inspired by existing works of art. The National Gallery reveals the connection between his aesthetic and that of the painter Ingres.
My references and the things that I sort of am drawn to are actually painterly. It's a funny relationship that I have with photography. I think I'm slightly unusual in that I take, sometimes I take a very literal interpretation of an image that I like.
can a photograph be expressive in the same way, as deeply, as profoundly, of somebody's sensibility as a painting or a sculpture?
I think yes, but it isn't a casual yes. I think that photography has enormous problems. The medium has enormous problems. The equalisation of technology, the fact that everybody carries a phone, everybody makes photographs all the time. So
It's almost as if everybody was wandering the streets with a canvas, painting constantly. You know, how much more difficult would it be to produce a Titian?
Well, I think that's a good point, but it can be, at its best, incredibly moving photography, but it moves in different ways. It's a very complicated area. You can get pictures that are emotional because of what they're showing you rather than what they are. And I think that what I'm interested in is photographs that are moving or emotional because of what they actually are.